All right, so my name is Ari Juarez, and this is my multimedia presentation about the concept, are we happier, more or less aware, and my thought process going through these sources that I chose. My take at the beginning was that I really didn't know what to think, but I was leaning more towards ignorance being better because I thought sometimes it's better not to know about something you can't fix yourself. Like, when I was thinking about the climate crisis, climate change, I'd rather not think about it. It's like I can't fix that. Um, it's bigger than myself and everyone around me. But then, like, when I realized when you have something that you can't fix yourself, something bigger than yourself or your community, I recognize that there has to be a cost to ignoring it. So, in defense of ignorance, I thought the simpler we lived our lives, the happier we will be. And uh, like I said about the climate crisis, we wish sometimes we could go back to being less knowledgeable about certain things. But on the flip side, seeing reality for what it really is, um, it's like, how can we get better if we stay closed off from the real world? And will we be happier if we face what is wrong and improve upon it in the end? So, more about the climate crisis. This is my greatest example of what ignorance caused because not enough people decided to pay attention to it. They'd rather just make money and uh, be capitalists. And this is like the cost of oh, someone else big that's not in my field is going to take care of this problem. And the video that goes along with this idea and what helped me visualize this concept more was the TED Talk Ignorance is Not Bliss. What you don't know can cost you. And the speaker in this does not talk about climate change, but it kind of goes hand in hand with his message. The speaker believes that if you don't tackle the root of a problem, then more problems will come about from the thing that you're ignoring. So, from from this class, I took a source from the Tao Te Ching, ancient Chinese philosophy. And my thought process here is like, are we better off not worrying about what we can't control? So I went to this source for guidance on that, and I kind of came to the conclusion that the Taoist would think um, being humble and realizing we can't control everything. Um, but what we can do personally can set an example for those around us. There's a balance between looking at something and staring at it and understanding that just the world can't be like caught in place and be perfect forever. And the perfect world is unachievable. And that's how a Taoist would see climate change. And it's like a middle ground, it's the balance. And I found a quote, the world is ruled by letting things take their course. It cannot be ruled by interfering. Okay, so one of my book sources I used for the concept ignorance as a strength to being open-minded, a defense of ignorance, its value for knowers and roles in feminist and social epistemologies. Um, so ignorance can be important for learning about things and can be ethically important. So we should not assume that we know all the answers immediately. That's like epistemic arrogance, like I put in parentheses. That's like the doctor saying, "Oh, I know more about you, the patient, because I have a degree in this field and you don't." And the overconfidence shuts down the other perspectives. Uh, Epistemophilia is like the love of knowledge, and loving your own knowledge too much can blind to other viewpoints of knowledge. Um, and that's like that's being closed-minded because you are thinking too much about your own way of thinking. And understanding you can't fully master another person's brain allows you to understand that you're gathering information humbly. So you know you can never fully understand a person but um but taking like just trying can create like a humility. It's a humility, and you know that there will always be gaps in knowledge. Okay, so I used a a book about racism for my, it's the biggest example of ignorance that can be seen so negatively. So the book I used was Race and Epistemologies of Ignorance, and it says a lot of things about ignorance being structured and institutionalized to keep privilege and social hierarchies, weaponized ignorance, and privileged races not seeing racism, deciding to overlook it, especially in schools, purposefully designing like their curriculums to hide the minority struggle, and legal systems purposefully failing to acknowledge systematic injustice for minority groups. And this is kind of like the two uh, sides put together in the book, The Paradoxes of Ignorance in Early Modern England and France. Um, you have to admit you're not aware. So this kind of goes with the open-mindedness part of ignorance that the other author was talking about. You have to admit you're not aware about certain things to gain knowledge, open-minded to new ideas. Recognizing your own limitations helps you grow and prevents dogmatism, the arrogance and all-knowingness and inability, the closed-mindedness. Um, allows for engagement of new ideas. You're open-minded to hearing new people. And the bad ignorance is like superstition. It's almost like fear. You're afraid of the unknown, refusal to question authoritative figures, and easily manipulated, especially by like government authorities and politics and stuff, and uh, radical ideologies. So I like this source because the character Fiero from Wicked represents the duality of ignorance and facing the truth to do what's right. So his character grows from somebody with really high social status, and he's totally just unaffected, and it wouldn't matter to him. He's like a pretty boy. He doesn't care um, what's going on under the surface. Um, but when he meets Elphaba, he understands that she's looking at what the animals are going through in this universe, and she can't look away from the suffering. And she confronts authority, and he grows and he helps her um, face the injustice. And in the end, they're the only two characters who actually get their happy ending out of all the characters who just went along with it and let the suffering continue. So, in the end, after going through the sources, I kind of came out on the opposite end of where I started. And I think that fulfillment and happiness comes from knowing you're doing right, you're doing good, you're paying attention, you're looking, you're not staring, though, there's a balance. But you should focus on bettering yourself and making the world a better place for those around you and yourself.